Hello my friends and welcome to The Simple Sober Life. I am Joshua and I help others make simple changes to create a life of awesome. Welcome my friends, I'm so excited to have you here with me. If you haven't yet done so, please make sure to subscribe by clicking on the subscribe button down below. Hit that bell when you subscribe so you get notified each time I create a video. Also, I am on all of the socials, so I'm at The Simple Sober Life on Instagram, Facebook. Come drop a DM, and I would be happy to get to know you better and help you out with anything that I might be able to. Whew! It is Sunday, and first and foremost, happy Father's Day! I am not a father myself, except for my little Luna. She is my sweet little girl, but I would like to wish a happy Father's Day to my dad and all of the sober dads out there who are making lives better for themselves and their families. Congratulations, that is awesome! Anyway, my friends, I've been kind of struggling about coming up with a topic for today. I have a running list of different topics I can go through regarding finance and relationships and the other pillars of the simple sober life, and nothing really popped out at me. I could have talked about a bunch of different things, but nothing really struck a chord. Have you ever been in that situation or in that mindset where you're like, I don't really want to talk about that, or I don't really feel like doing that? But anyway, so I'm going to go to church later on this afternoon or this morning, and Brian is actually giving the sermon, which is really cool. It's something he's very passionate about, and I really like hearing him preach because he's just so enthusiastic, and he really gets into it. You can tell that it's something that he loves to do, and I love seeing that energy. So hopefully I'll come up, or a topic will kind of strike a chord, and I'll be able to talk about something a little later. But as you may know, work has actually gone down to a 40-hour work week Monday through Thursday. So we're working 10 hours a day, Monday through Thursday. We get Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off. And, it's a little strange. It almost feels like too much time off, if that makes any sense. And I'm pretty sure it's only because I'm not used to it. Believe me, I am not complaining about it because I have been able to work on my book. I've been able to get some extra schoolwork done. I just finished up a blog post for next week. I've been able to go out and spend some time with Luna. And, yesterday I actually met up my aunt, who is considering moving up to North Carolina. She rented an Airbnb about 3 hours away in an area of the state that I've never been in. Apparently, it's a very rural area. She's in the middle of the woods and has to drive into this very small town just to get cell service and internet connection. And I don't think she's really enjoying it. And she's moving up from Florida. The heat and humidity are just getting to her, and she's looking for a different place to stay. And, I don't really see family a lot, especially extended family, except for when we used to have reunions and things like that. We were just never brought up as a close-knit family growing up. And even with the cousins and aunts and uncles that I had in St. Louis, we only saw them, a couple times a year until my grandmother passed away. And then my mom would go in on weekends to help my grandpa out and things like that. And whenever me and my sisters would go with her, we'd see aunts and uncles and things like that. But, we've never all been really close. That's just not how we were raised. That's just not how I grew up. And so it was really kind of nice, to sit down to lunch with my aunt and, get to know her a little better, see where her mindset's at, see how the rest of the family's doing. I've been on this weight loss challenge with a couple of guys from work, and we just started back up for a 30-day challenge last week. And I gotta tell you, I'm not really motivated. You know, there's a little bit of money on the table, which helps out a little bit, but I've been doing it for so long now. It's been several months that I've been doing low carb and things like that, that it's just kind of blasé. So I need to find something to kind of spice up the routine and things like that. And I've been talking about getting into a workout routine, a regular workout routine, but there's not a gym close by. And whenever I do work out, I like to go out to the gym. Working at home from a video for me, just, I don't know, it doesn't have the same energy level to it. I just really like, when I do work out, to go to an actual gym. And they're still closed in this area. The closest one to me is about 10 miles away. And it's still closed due to the COVID thing. And the other close one to me, it's a rickety old tin can with rusted equipment that charges $30 a month. And I'm like, I don't think so. And so I've got to figure something else out. And so I've got this problem in front of me, and now I've got to come up with a viable solution. I've been doing yoga periodically, but it's not getting me to the point that I want. And so I've been thinking about doing maybe a HIIT routine in the morning, and that stands for high intensity interval training in the morning, you know, before going into work, because once I get out of work, I'm done. I'm done with any sort of physical activity, and you will usually find me either standing and shooting a video, editing a video, or working on some schoolwork on the sofa in front of the television. Still productive, just not very active. So if I do that in the morning and then maybe do yoga at night, kind of stretch out the muscles, ease the mind type thing, that might help, a little bit. And then I'm actually doing some sort of activity, in the morning and in the evening. I might have to look into that and start doing it tomorrow, even though the motivation level isn't really there. I've reached a point where, I'm happy with where I'm at, but I know that there's still progress to be made. I want to be able to walk around like this without having to puff up my chest and pull in my stomach. But anyway, my friends, I met up my aunt for lunch yesterday, and I had one of the best Philly cheesesteak sandwiches I have ever had in my entire life. It was over in Asheville, and it was this podunk hole-in-the-wall little place, and it was fantastic. It was so good. So I totally cremated my low-carb diet plan this weekend. I had that fudge sundae, or that brownie fudge sundae on Friday, and then a Philly cheesesteak yesterday. But I gotta reset and get back on the horse, because I do want to win this challenge. So I'll have to figure something else up with that. But anyway, I've been rambling on. I'm so sorry. I met up with my aunt yesterday, and the reason that we met up was because my grandfather passed away a couple of years ago and left behind a bunch of paperwork and things like that, and my dad wanted this paperwork. So, I went to meet her up and got the paperwork. And I didn't go through a lot of it yesterday. I just wanted to see what kind of things that were in there. And there are some really, really cool things in there. And I'm going to show you in just a minute. But a little bit about my grandfather. He was born in, I think it was 1914. In fact, one of the things that I found in the box was his birth certificate. Or no, wait. No, that's not true. I found his high school diploma. And I think he graduated. It doesn't matter. We'll go in and see. But anyway, about my grandfather, he was a pretty remarkable man. He had a military career throughout his entire life. He was a very proud member of the United States Air Force. He actually joined the Air Force when the Army and the Air Force were only one branch of the military. And this was way back in the 1940s. He was in World War II. And I had the pleasure many years ago to actually interview my grandfather on camera, and he told me a story about how he was on a secret mission to actually drop a third atomic bomb on Japan during World War II. And, you know, from World War II, he was then active in the Korean War. You know, he was a very active member of the VFW, and you know, he was very active up until the last few years of his life. He played harmonica. You know, he was very active in church, and you know, very vocal with choir and things like that. He would actually travel around with his church group and things like that. Very, very fascinating man. And I'm so glad that I had the opportunity to interview him and learn more about his life. But let's take a minute and let's just kind of root through some of my grandpa's things. Because, you know, I don't know about you, but I really find history, especially family history, to be very exciting, to be really interesting. And I'm ashamed to say that I don't really know a lot about my family history. You know, I'm pretty much a European mutt. From what I understand, I'm French, Irish, German, American, Cherokee, Indian, and that's pretty much it. I don't know a lot about my family tree or my family history. I know back to my great-grandparents, and that's it. And I don't even know much about them. But let's take a little look and let's take a little walk through history. So I apologize about the audio. I forgot to charge up my microphones, and so I'm using the camera's microphone instead. So you might hear some background noise, and it might sound a little hollow, but you know, I had to apologize because I'm a kind of a film geek, and so bad audio kind of irritates the crap out of me. I've got little Luna down here, so if you hear a little scuffling around, then that's what that is. But from my aunt and to my dad, she got this hardcover case, and what's inside is an old camcorder, which, you know, immediately piqued my interest. But look at this honking thing. Like, it's a VHS home video recorder. And look at this battery. This battery is huge. And this thing has to weigh 10 pounds. It's crazy. And my dad's like, you can have it if you want. I don't know what I'd really do with it. I would never shoot videos on it. But what intrigued me was there is a tape inside. And I was really hoping that, you know, maybe it would have like some old video from the 80s or early 90s of family and things like that. It's a blank tape. I tried. But I tested it out, and I didn't even see that it really worked. It turns on, but that's about it. And it actually eats the tape inside. So not much going on with this. But what's really cool are these totes. So he got 2 full totes. And, you know, I was just going through a couple of little things yesterday. I had to get back to school, so I couldn't take too much time on it. But there's all of this military stuff from my grandfather. In here are his, what do you call it? Discharge papers and things like that. But like I mentioned, his high school diploma is in here. And he graduated from Tennessee. It was in Shelby County, Tennessee. And one of the fascinating things about this was I didn't know my grandfather's middle name was Douglas. Had no idea. It never came up in conversation. And Douglas is my dad's first name. So I thought that was really cool. He graduated on May 29th of 1936. So this is a pretty old document. One of the coolest things I found in this little treasure trove was this newspaper from Saturday, November 23rd, 1963. Can you guess what the headline is? The assassination of President Kennedy. This paper right here is over 50 years old. And you can tell by the wear and tear and everything, but what a cool piece of history to actually have a newspaper from, such an historic event. That's something to definitely hang on to. Let's see here. A couple of other old newspapers from various parts of the country. This one's, holy cow. This one is, I'm trying to be really careful with this stuff. It's the Gleaner. This is Nicholas Blackwell High School. So I guess it's their high school paper from May 26th, 1936. And I'm not really sure what the significance of that is, unless it corresponds with the year that's the year my grandfather graduated. So this must be one of the papers from his graduating class. And I don't want to get too handsy with it. Yeah, senior class plans for graduation for the 29th. And it's just strange how far we've come with providing information and things like that. There's a bunch of ads in here, so companies took out ads in the school newspaper. Also in here is a certificate that my grandpa, he completed elementary school, so that's good, in 1932. So I guess if he graduated elementary in 32 and high school in 36, I guess his elementary went all the way up through 7th grade. There's a picture of my grandfather, a 40th high school reunion in 1978. And I guess it's, there's my grandfather and there's my grandmother down there. It's just some really cool stuff. And my grandpa used to go on a lot of trips, and as a kid, whenever he and my grandmother would come up and visit, they would always bring the slides of their most recent trip. And it was on one of those little turntable things, and you'd shine it up against the wall and it'd project the picture, and it was always my grandfather giving a presentation of his most recent trip. And it would be like, click, click, here's me and Joyce, exploring the caverns in Arizona, or me and Joyce going to the Holy Land. But what I didn't know was that he kept journal entries about his trips. Here's a 1984 trip west where they went to Greensboro, Kansas, and headed on Highway 70 west of Denver, onto Nevada. They went to Lake Tahoe. They went through the Sierra Nevada to get to California. They went up and down the California coastline. They saw the Queen Mary. Let's hear. They went on to they went to San Diego and Tijuana. Wonder what they did in Tijuana. But just such cool information. This is one of his discharge papers. Apparently my grandfather was O positive. No time lost. Oh wait, is this a medical thing? It doesn't really give an incident, but this what apparently happened in Suffolk, England. It says that he was O positive, no time lost, not eligible for MOP. I'm not exactly sure what that means. Huh. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what that means. I'm not exactly sure what this is. I don't know. Interesting. I'm sure my dad would understand a lot of this more than I would. He was also in the Air Force. But let's see what else we got. Some more newspapers. My grandfather's Air Force certificate of appointment. This was on October 21st, 1950. He was carefully and diligently to discharge the duty of staff sergeant. And that was here in Air Force Base in Texas. But just a bunch of cool memorabilia from, you know, my time, or the time when my grandfather was on this planet, and the service that he provided. Now in the other bin, hold on, I thought I'd seen some letters. Maybe that's in this bin as well. Yeah, there's some letters between my grandfather and friends, family, and things like that. And I remember my grandma talking about the letters that she would get from my grandpa while he was away at service, or on service. Here's a letter from March 21st, 1932. And it's to my grandfather from Lena. I don't know who Lena is. This must be before he met my grandma, I would imagine. But it's signed Your Sweetheart, Lena. And it's to Dearest Lawrence. It's inviting him to an Easter egg hunt, him and his sister. And I never met his sister, that I recall. But yeah, just a bunch of different letters and papers and things like that. I don't know. So I guess the message here would be to, you know, if you have the opportunity find out more about your family history and where you come from so that you can have a better understanding of, who you are as a person. Because I think all of that influences, who you are. And not to mention, it's really, really interesting. One of the things that can help us in the future is understanding the history that we and our family have gone through. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please make sure to give this video a big old thumbs up. Also, comment down below, have you ever explored your family history? If so, what cool things did you find out? Also, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell when you subscribe so you get notified each time I create a video. And until next time, cheers, my friends.